Pratima Pawar, Assistant Professor, Department of Zoology, Dada Patil Mahavidyalaya, Karjat, District Ahmednagar. And this is my third lecture in the series of the video lectures from TYBSc, paper 5th, Parasitology. And the topic we are going to deal today is ticks, Trimacenter Andersoni. Let's begin with the learning outcomes, morphology, life cycle, pathogenicity and control measures. At the end of the lecture, the students will be able to tell the morphology, the life cycle and the control measures of ticks.
Let us see the introduction. We are going to see the classification, the habits, the habitat. If we see the classification, they belong to the phylum Arthropoda. We'll see the classification later in detail. They are distributed throughout the world, that is, they are cosmopolitan in distribution. It is one of the most important ticks found in the United States. Ticks are ectoparasites of vertebrate animals and all suck the blood from a number of different mammals. Ticks are of two kinds, hard ticks and soft ticks, belonging to the two different families, but we are going to deal with the family Ixopidae, which is the hard ticks, or also commonly called as spotted fever tick. Let's see the habit and habitat. Ticks are ectoparasites of birds, rodents, domestic animals and man. Each tick during its life requires 3 hosts, which are probably 3 different individuals and commonly 3 different species. Only adults feed on man and the larger animals. The larvae and nymphs feed on small wild animals, especially the rodents. The nymphs and adults can survive 3 to 4 years without host. So let's see the classification in detail. Kingdom Animalia, phylum Arthropoda, class Arachnida, family Ixopidae, genus Trimacenter and species Andersoni. So here we are going to see the morphology. If we see the morphology of the ticks, they are: the body of the tick is oval in shape and is not distinctly separated into head, thorax and abdomen. They have 4 pair of legs and no antenna. The hard ticks are covered on their dorsal surface by a chitinous shield called the scutum. In the males, the scutum covers the entire back, whereas the female only a small part in the front. The scutum or dorsal shield is absent in the soft ticks. In the morphology, we are also going to deal with the comparison between the hard and the soft ticks. The hard ticks belong to the family Ixopidae, whereas the soft ticks belongs to the family the Argacidae. The scutum covers the entire back in the case of Ixopidae, whereas in case of the soft ticks we can see that the scutum is absent, or a hard covering over the body is absent. The head, it is situated at anterior side in the case of hard ticks, whereas it lies on the ventral side and not seen from above in the soft ticks. spiracles are situated behind the fourth coxa. In case of soft ticks, the spiracles are present behind the third and the fourth coxa. If we see the egg laying behavior, several hundred or thousands of eggs are laid at one sitting by the hard ticks, whereas the soft ticks lay bunches of 20 to 100 eggs over a long period of time. The next stage is the nymph stage. In case of hard ticks, there is only a single nymphal stage, whereas in case of the soft ticks, there are 5 different nymphal stages, or you can say molds. Habit: cannot stand starvations, feeds for day and night. So in case of hard ticks, they keep on feeding and feeding, whereas the soft ticks can stand starvation for a year or more. So they can live, the soft ticks can live without feeding even for a year. There are different diseases which are transmitted by the hard ticks, like tick typhus, viral encephalitis, hemorrhagic fever, tick paralysis, and human babesia, whereas the soft ticks are the cause of relapsing fever. In the hard ticks, Drimacenta andersoni is one of the major species found, whereas Haemophilus. Let us see the life cycle in detail. Here we can see in the diagram, starting with the egg, the larva, the nymph, and then the adults. At each stage, they have a different host. Drimacenta andersoni is a 3-host tick with larval, nymphal, and adult life cycle stages. During each life cycle stage, the tick takes a single blood meal from a mammalian host. Duration of the life cycle varies between 1 year to 3 years and is influenced by factors such as temperature, humidity, and host availability. From the beginning of the May through June, tick eggs are deposited on moist vegetation after the engrossed female tick drops off her host. In the May, when people walk in the jungles, these ticks attach to them and feed upon them. Once they are fed completely, such females are called as engrossed females. Okay, now this female lays about 2500 to 4000 eggs over 10 to 33 days. Larval ticks hatch in early summer and begin questing for small mammalian hosts, seeking the stimuli of carbon dioxide, temperature, and humidity. A larva may cling to a passing host with the first pair of legs, climb upwards, and then attach with its gnathostome to the neck or the shoulder region. These are the preferable regions because they are very soft. They feed about 2 to 6 days, and after becoming engrossed, the larvae drop off from the host and molds into a nymphal stage. Now these nymphs remain dormant for an extended period of time unless stimulated by presence of a host. Nymph feeding behavior is like that of a larvae. The nymphs and the larvae do not feed on humans, but the adult ticks do feed on the human beings. The nymphs and the larvae feed on
smaller host like the rodents, the birds, and the reptiles. The adult female feeds continuously throughout the time, around 5 to 15 days. Males, though, feed for a shorter period and copulate with several partially fed females that are still on the host. Females drop off the host when fully engrossed and seek an area to oviposit. Oviposition is the phenomena of a female, especially the insects, laying eggs. Both the sexes die shortly after reproduction. So, as we know, the ultimate aim of life is reproduction. So, let's see the pathogenicity. Ticks are very annoying to most of the cattle and human beings. Ticks are vectors for several zoonotic diseases and are ranked second only to mosquitoes as vectors. The disease spread by ticks are a major concern to animals' productivity while causing morbidity and mortality in both mammals and human beings. A number of tick species have been recognized since long as vectors for lethal pathogens like Crimean Congo hemorrhagic fever virus, which is also called as CCHFV, Kaisanur forest disease virus KFDV, Babesia species, Rickettsia conuri, Anaplasma marginale, etc. The damages caused by them are well recognized. There is a need to reassess the exact control of the ticks. There is a research program which is working for the control of ticks, which is focused on the major tick-borne human and animal diseases in India and the progress in vector control research with emphasis on acaricide, tick vaccine, and the development of potential phytoacaricides as an integral part of the tick control program. If we see the disease transmission, these ticks are generally vectors for Colorado tick fever and possibly be a vector for Rocky Mountain spotted fever in the USA. Ticks can become infected with a disease by feeding on a small mammal during its larval or nymphal stage and can generally be a vector in its nymphal or adult stage. So here we can see that they get infected when they are in larval stage because they feed on smaller mammals like the rats and the rodents. Whereas when they grew up in the nymphal and adult stage, during their feeding, they pass on the disease to the higher host like the human beings. So let us see the preventive measures. Ticks are vectors for several zoonotic diseases and are ranked second only to the mosquitoes as vectors. They spread diseases as a major concern to animal productivity and causing morbidity and mortality in both animals and humans. A number of tick species have been recognized since long as a vector of lethal pathogens. So let us see the preventive measures. Keep grass trimmed and under control. This is one of the major cause. As we have seen earlier, the ticks cling to the grasses. If the grass is well grown and when we walk through such grass, there is a possibility that we might catch with the tick. Clean up leaf piles, clean dead branches from the tree,
and pruning and cutting of the trees also should be done occasionally so that they may not cause a harm. Removal of dead wood, logs, debris, litter from the garden is must because such a condition provides proper growth conditions for the ticks. Stocking of wood piles may also lead to the growth and development of the ticks under such logs. Reduce movement of your pest. Here we can see that the pets which are found in our house like the cats and dogs majorly are the primary host, or you can say the primary, they get the ticks very easily as their body is very soft as compared to the human host. So they are working as a carriers, so we have to reduce, we have to control their visits in the garden, especially in the May to June. Ticks are abundant in moist and decaying ones, that is, where there is moist place and decaying material, ticks are found abundantly at such places. So let us see the preventive measures. Whenever we visit a field or go outside for outing, in order to protect ourselves from the tick, we have to wear long pants, trousers, shirts and t-shirts. Use of repellents is a good method to avoid the ticks. As we all know, light trap or cloth traps are used to catch the ticks, where white cloth is used. So avoiding light clothes because they get attracted towards the light clothes very easily. Walk on paths. Instead of walking through the jungles and through the grasses, it is always recommended to walk on paths as the grass over the path is not well grown. When you return home, you should have a hot water bath with a soap. Use of medmix can be recommended, or use of any herbal soap like the Neees, Gurions. As the tick are small, they generally get attached to the soft body parts like the knees, the armpits, behind the ears and the sole. The main weapon for the control of ticks at present is the use of chemical acaricides. A wide range of acaricides including arsenal, fluorinated hydrocarbons, organophosphate, carbamates, synthetic pyric products, etc. are used for controlling the ticks. Appropriate directions are given on the bottles of this acaricides. So it's our duty to read the labels properly while applying the acaricides. Humans are recommended to use strong herbal soaps like medmix to get rid of the ticks. So these are the references. The photo credits. The photos I have used are subjected to copyright, hence thank you. If you have any queries, you can write it into the comment box.